Welcome everybody to Web3 Sales Gym. Today we're meeting with amazing Anoothi from Stader Labs, and she is doing amazing job with building different Web3 teams, and she is able to do so many things with her team that I wanted to find some time to chat and learn all the secrets. Anoothi, welcome to the show.
Thanks a ton, Nikolai. Absolute pleasure being on the show. Hi, everyone. I'm Anoothi. I'm the Chief Business Officer at Stader Labs. We are a multi-chain liquid staking solution doing a lot of exciting stuff on the EVM chains, and very excited to be here and share any insights I've had from building over the last 2 years, especially in the bear market.
Let's go, because the bear market, that's the thing that everybody's going to be interested. How did you survive during the bear market, and how did you achieve so much success? Basically, the first question to you would be where should projects go and start finding for cool people? Because like people with spirit, people that are talented and that are shining from inside. How do they find them? Where do they find them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a $1 billion question. And I don't think I'm a guru in that, but I can definitely share what's worked best for us. I think for early stage projects, which is what we were 2 years ago, personal networks work really well. So I would say personal network, referrals, conferences and real life events where you can meet people, talk to them and get their vibe, I think is a great place. And then the other alternative that I found was common interest groups or focus groups on Telegram. I think that's a great starting point where you can, start scouting and then finally talk to people. So for intimate small teams, I think personal networks and referrals work really well. For medium to large scale projects, which is what we have sort of now become, I would say LinkedIn, having more formalized routes like a talent acquisition team or external recruitment agencies is a great support.
Awesome. I love this thing about the different events. That's how I found one of my first jobs at Morales, through the events. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Amazing. Another question is, how do you survive the bear market? So basically, how do you motivate the team during the bear market, and all together you keep them cold during the bull market, so they don't get super excited and then start investing their houses into some meme coins and all the things? Like, how do you keep this balance of work and life with the team?
Absolutely. Great question, Nikolai. So I would say that, I really lived this life where I had to retain and really create a thriving team during the bear market. And I think the most important thing for me was to show the vision and give the clarity to the team in terms of what really needs to be built. Right. So once you have actually shown the vision and given the clarity, then people know exactly what to work on, and that's really helpful, even if there's a lot of lack of energy and dryness in the market. The second thing I feel is that you have to instill confidence in your team. The most important parameter obviously becomes, how our business financials doing, and so be transparent about it. Talk actively about the runway the company has. How are you managing your treasury, and what this means in terms of job security for people. The third thing I would say is that you as a leader need to keep a very positive attitude, and you need to reward the team on the input metrics more than over indexing on the output metrics, because during the bear market things are moving slowly, and if you constantly over index on output metrics, then people feel very demotivated. So I think just focus on the effort and reward people for that. I also found celebrating the small wins really helpful. And lastly, I would say, as a hygiene factor, we should create a platform where people can voice their concerns very transparently. And leaders then, are listening to that and constantly addressing it. So I think, overall, all of this really helped in helping create a motivated team during the bear market for me.
Awesome. So I noted down for myself: first, vision; second, confidence; third one is focusing on the input; and the fourth one, celebrating the small wins. Do you think this cocktail of these things is the thing what the good leader should do, or what defines a good leader for you? Like what one thing that they should be doing to build good and successful teams besides what you already asked, or that's the secret sauce?
Yeah. So I would say, if I have to distill it down to one thing that a leader should do, I think they should establish the vision for the company and give absolute clarity to the team on what needs to be done. And then this can be broken down into the responsibilities of each of the team members, and then giving them complete ownership and putting the spotlight on them so that they can really thrive in those roles. But I think you really need to bring that clarity to the team, because that helps in creating a very focused working environment.
Exactly. That's the function of the leader. Like, you need to show where we're
Yes,
going and then be able to explain, or like, why we're going there, and then motivate everybody with this.
100%.
Another question, Anoothi, how do you understand that you're a good leader? Like, how does a person, like somebody's just leaving, having the project, like how do they understand that, oh yeah, we're a good leader?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a great question, Nikolai. I would say that, as a leader myself, some of the metrics I look at is, what is the general energy level in the team? What does attrition look like? What is the performance level of my team members? Because I genuinely believe that, happy people can do wonders. If your team is happy, it's thriving. I feel like, a lot of people in the world have the basic level of intelligence and have good intention. So if we create an enabling environment, it shows on their faces, it shows in the performance. So I use those as, I would say, personal temp check. Other than that, if I have to look at it very objectively, from all that I've learned working with leaders and being a leader myself, is that a leader really needs professional competence and
Yes.
vision, because you need to inspire people, and people need to respect you at the end of the day. So if you're a leader who people like as a human being, but they can't really respect you at work, that's not really going to make you a great leader in the workplace. The second thing I think is, like I mentioned ample number of times, bringing clarity to the team in terms of what needs to be done. The third, I would say, very underrated but very, very critical, is empathy. So you need to really put them before yourself, and you need to truly care about your team members and mentor them, understand their concerns, and be actively resolving them. And the last I would say is decisiveness, because sometimes great companies basically come to a stall because of decision paralysis. So being decisive and being able to move even in complex business environments is very important.
Awesome. And I think it's everything is correlated together. Like, especially if when you don't have the vision, that's when people become indecisive, because you think,
Yeah,
do I do this or do I do that? Do I go there or do I go there? But if you have a clear vision, you just get two roads, and then you just put yourself one vision on the road, first road, second vision on the second road, and then you see and you compare
100%.
which one correlates better, which one can bring you to the result more amazing. Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Last question, a bit harder for you. But how do you fire people in the ecological way, that the bridges are not burned and not people are okay with that? Like, for example, from my experience in my previous company, there was a very good attitude of the team, like a sport team, where the coach, they just swap players, not because the player is bad, but for the team that they're creating, they just needed another one, like another type of personality or this or that. So it's like nothing personal.
Right.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, so I want to say that, I've been in this situation, but I would say firing is never easy. However, a few things that I feel should be done when you are dealing with such a sensitive situation is that, for all team members, you have to be constantly giving them regular feedbacks. And if you feel that, somebody is not performing well and could get potentially fired, I would say you need to actively communicate that, put them on a performance improvement track, give them, say a 1 month notice where their performance will be monitored actively, and you will be there for support, so that they feel they have got a fair chance to act on the feedback. That's really important. Being fair in this process is also very important. The second thing I would say, if ultimately you have come to this situation when you have to end up firing somebody, I would say be very transparent in terms of the reason that you are firing somebody. Like Nikolai,
Mm-hmm.
you were saying, sometimes organizations change, their priorities change, which means that maybe people were good in their roles, but those roles are no longer needed. And so,
Mm-hmm.
in that, you need to make sure that, if you are firing somebody for an XYZ reason, you are very clear about that and it doesn't damage the personal confidence of that person. And lastly, I would say that, we need to give enough time for people to phase out of the job. So you need to give them notice, and definitely, from at a human level, you need to help them with connections for the next job if possible. I have actively tried to do that for, people I have had to let go. And I think that is really critical in terms of making sure that they are set up for success in the future.
Mm-hmm. Anoothi, thank you so much for your insights. I think that was one of the most fast-paced, positive, and vibrant interviews that I ever hosted, and I personally enjoyed it so much. Thank you so much for yourself, for your vibe, for your personality. I hope this information helps young leaders that are just starting in Web3 and people that have been leading companies and different teams for quite some time to become better, do more things. And if you guys want to check out Anoothi, I'm going to leave all her links below. Everything that they do at the Stader Labs, the team is firing. If you're looking for the job, shoot a DM to Anoothi. You see what kind of leader she is, and I would love to work with a person like you. So thank you
So
so much
much.
for your time.
Thank you so much, Nikolai. Absolute pleasure talking to you, and a great set of questions. Really proud of everything you're doing, and hope this interview helps people who listen to it.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody will listen. That's what I can guarantee to you. Thank you, Anoothi,
Yes.
and have an amazing day.